Hey, welcome to the Acting Career Expert Studio. My name is Dan Warner. Today we are going to be talking about bold choices. But before we get to all of that, you got to visit the actingcareerexpertstudio.com website. It is almost done. You should sign up on the wait list because it is going to be filled with so many hours of workshops and tutorials and tips and PDFs and everything that will help you take your acting career to the next level or get you started. ActingCareerExpertStudio.com. I think we got like 40 days left, 45 days left. So join the wait list, get ready. It's going to be awesome. All right, bold choices. It's a phrase that's thrown around a lot. Well, you got to make strong choices. You got to make bold choices. And quite frankly, casting directors are a little hesitant to offer up that bit of advice or as a note, because what ends up happening is actors translate bold choices into bigger and louder, and God, that's the opposite of what you should do. A bold choice doesn't mean bigger and louder. A bold choice is usually subtle and specific. I'm going to say that again. A bold choice sometimes is subtle, a lot of times is subtle and specific. A bold choice doesn't mean louder. A bold choice doesn't mean you do something crazy. A bold choice is something that's different than... Now, it has to agree with the text that you're reading, of course, but you have to do something that's a little different. Making a strong choice, and it's kind of confusing because they say bold choice, but it's just an interesting choice or a strong choice, meaning you're doing something other than just memorizing the words and reading the text, because anyone can, well, a lot of people can do that, and a lot of actors do that, but they don't make little subtle choices. They don't make strong choices for their character. It's the subtle moments that make all the difference. I was doing a scene in an acting class with Richard Lawson, and the scene was One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. If you've not seen that film, you absolutely should. And I was playing McMurphy. I was playing Jack Nicholson's part in this scene in class. And it was the scene where he's sitting in an office with two psychiatrists, and he's trying to convince them that he's not crazy because he doesn't want to stay at this mental institute. But at the same time, he might have to go back to prison, and so he kind of wants to be in the mental institute because it's an easier deal. Anyway, so he's having a conversation with them, and he's trying to convince them that he's not crazy. Now, my choice was that he had to go back to prison. He was desperate to be there at the mental institute, and he had to convince them that he wasn't super crazy, but he was just maybe a little crazy. So he couldn't be really wacko, but he had to try to let them know that he wasn't crazy, even though he wanted them to believe that he was a little crazy so he could stay there. Anyway, while I was in rehearsal, and these are little things that you can find in rehearsal and use them as a choice, use them as a strong or bold choice. And that is, I was sitting there, I was at my house, and I was rehearsing with my scene partners. I had two guys that were with me. And you know how sometimes a really tiny little feather will float down? You don't know where they come from. It's just like the smallest feather, so they're just coming down really, really slow. Well, I was in the middle of rehearsal, I saw one. And so I was, doing my lines, and they were doing their lines, and then I spotted this feather, and I was like, I kept looking at it, and then I would continue my lines, and I kept looking at it, and it got really close to me, and I went, and I blew it so it would float off. We get done with the scene, and my scene partner goes, he goes, "Oh, that was brilliant." And I said, "Oh, thanks." I didn't know what he was talking about. He goes, "Well, how did you come up with that?" I said, "Come up with what?" He goes, "With the blow, when you blew in the air like that." I said, "Oh, there was a feather. You didn't see the feather?" And he said, "No, I didn't see the feather. All I saw was you talking to me and then just go." So that's something a crazy person might do. So I thought, oh, I'm going to use that in my scene. I also had little things that I did, like I would be talking and then I would do this with my hand every once in a while, just randomly. And it didn't really mean anything except he had this tick that he did. And a bold or strong choice could be a behavior, a tick, a little, something that they do, blowing a feather, whatever the case may be. So making a strong or bold choice just means doing something out of the norm, different than the text that's on the page. I had an audition for the TV show Castle, and the text said, and this is the other thing about auditions and all of that, and that is to say that sometimes the written text is misleading. My character was a private security guard for a senator, and I was in his home. This was the scene. And I have a gun. Someone sneaks into his house. They have a gun. And then I catch him. And so he's standing sort of in the living room where I see him, and I'm in the living room, and we're not very far away. And the text reads, "Drop the gun, exclamation point. Do it now, exclamation point, exclamation point." And so I thought, well, God, why would you... I understand if in real life, because I always equate it to being a real person in a real place, having a real experience. And so if Dan Warner was in a living room with a gun and some other guy had a gun, I'm not convinced I'd be yelling at him. I would want to intimidate him, and I think one of the ways to do that is to not yell. I think guys that speak quieter are a little more dangerous. So I get to the audition, and I go into the waiting room, and every guy in there is dressed the same, including me. Black suit, white shirt, black tie. So each guy goes into the room, and all you hear, because the walls are pretty thin, all you hear from inside the room is, "Drop the gun! Do it now!" Like just yelling, "Drop the gun, do it now." Each guy louder than the next. And I thought, God, I wouldn't do that. First of all, like I said, you're 10 feet away from the person. And so if you have your gun drawn, you would just say, "Drop the gun. Do it now." That's how I think it should go. I added a button on mine because there was a long pause towards the end. So I go in the room, and I'm the only one not yelling. So I do my rehearsal, or I do my audition, drop the gun, do it now. And then the casting director goes, "Okay, cut, let's do it again. This time, just give me a little more." And I thought, okay. So the casting director is telling me to be bigger. And it's the casting director, so you usually want to listen to them. But I didn't want to go that big. I didn't believe that that was the right thing to do. So I said, "Drop the gun. Do it now." And she says, "Cut." Great. "Okay, let's do it again." She goes, "This guy's ex-military. I need a little more bravado from him. I mean, a little more volume, a little more." And I thought, no, That's not how this goes for me. So I didn't say that, but what I did was dialed it back again. And I go, drop the gun. Do it now. I'm not going to ask you again. Just like that. She goes, cut, thank you, bye. So she was clearly pissed off that I was not taking her direction, but I just didn't feel like that guy was going to yell and scream in a living room. I mean, come on. You don't want to make a scene. You want to, stifle this activity before it escalates. So I leave the casting, and I'm disappointed because I was like, well, she might not probably even show anyone, the producers or the director, my read. She probably deleted it because I didn't do what she said. I didn't do what she asked. The next day I get a call, you've booked Castle. So I get to the set, talking to the director. He's showing me, okay, you're going to come out of the door, you're going to stand here, do this. And there was a guy with him, and I didn't know who the guy was. I didn't recognize the guy, but he was shadowing the director when they were walking around, and he was explaining to me the choreography and the blocking and all that. I said, okay. And then there was a lull, and it was the right, perfect time, and I said, I have a question for you. And he says, yeah, what's up? And I said, why did you hire me? And he said, excuse me? I said, why did you hire me? And then I told him the story of the casting director and everyone yelling. He goes, oh, yeah, shit. He goes, you know, sometimes these casting directors don't know what the hell they're talking about. He goes, your tape was the best one. And then the guy standing behind him, who I found out later was the producer, he goes, there was no second choice. We didn't have a second choice. You were the guy. And he said, you know, when you have this feeling of this is how you should do it the way you feel you should do it. Now, that said, if you're brand new and you make some wacky choice and the casting director goes, yeah, let's do it this way. But this seemed to me the way that this should go. So, and I wasn't way out of line as far as being, you know, weird or any of those things. It just seemed like that's how the scene should go. And the producer said, he goes, whatever you're doing, continue to do that. Your choices were fantastic. And all the other tapes were just guys yelling. And I was like, yeah, that's what it seemed like to me too. So that's the great lesson is make a bold choice. It can be anything. It can be a gesture. It can be it can be anything you do, any sort of behavior with your ear, your eyebrow, anything. But mix it up. Be a real person in a real place having a real experience. You know, if you have an itch on your back, you know, itch your back the way you would normally itch your back. Do that while you're doing your scene. That's a choice. It's a strong choice. People don't do that. They just memorize that text and read it to their scene partner. Don't do that. Be a real person in a real place, having a real experience. If you got anything out of this video, which I hope you did, you should hit the like button down below. If you have not subscribed to my channel, oh man, I don't know what to tell you. I think you should subscribe to my channel. And you should also go to actingcareerexpertstudio.com. I am, for a much more limited time now, going to be doing private coaching. So if you have questions about your audition on tape or you need someone to read and coach you through it, I do that for a fee. Go to actingcareerexpertstudio.com and my coaching page is there, and you can, you know, find out what times I'm available, and off we go. That's it. That's all I got. Let's see. I don't even have a. I don't have a who said that. So I guess I'll just see you next week on another episode of The Invisible Man.